Hi everyone, I'm Mr. Simmons. Some of you know me by now, but this is my first lesson video that you'll see me in for civics, and I'll be the person that you'll be seeing from this point on in the lesson videos. So the first lesson that I'm going to be featured in for you guys is called lesson number 7, the rule of law. So up on the screen you see some pictures. On the left hand side you see some books. One of them says law on it. And on the right hand side you see a king. So what we're going to look at in this lesson is what the rule of law is and the difference between a society or a country that's ruled by laws, meaning laws are in charge, and a society in which a person or an individual is in charge, like a king, which was what we call the rule of man. We'll get into that in a few slides. So the goals, these are the things you'll be able to do at the end of the lesson. You'll be able to define the rule of law, meaning you'll be able to say what it is. You'll be able to explain the role of government and citizens in the rule of law, so you'll be able to figure out what it has to do with us. You'll be able to discuss the importance of the rule of law. So you'll be able to talk about why this whole rule of law thing is so important. Essential questions, they're not questions that you have to answer and like submit to me or anything like that. They're just things that if I asked you these questions in live class or whatever, you'd be able to answer them at the end of this lesson. The first one is, what is the rule of law? And the second one is, how does it benefit society, meaning how does it help society? So the rule of law is going to be about who or what is in charge in a society. So in most societies in our world, they're going to practice either the rule of law or the rule of man. So you're probably more familiar with the rule of man. You might just not know it. In a society that uses the rule of man, that means that a person, usually like a king or a dictator, is in charge. That person can do whatever they want, whatever they say goes. That's what the rule of man means, is that the ruler or the person in charge has all the say, can do whatever they want, and doesn't even have to follow the laws. The rule of law is different. That's what we have in the United States. In the rule of law, laws are in charge, not individuals, not people. The laws are the things that make our society go, that make our society function. So everyone has to look at laws to decide what they can do and what they cannot do. In a society that has the rule of man, everyone has to look to the king or the leader in charge to see what they can and cannot do. So you might be saying to yourself, well, we have a president, so aren't they in charge like the king? The presidents that we've had, a lot of them, yes, they definitely do have power like a king does, and they definitely are in charge just like a king is, but there's a lot of really, really big differences between a president and a king. We'll talk about those on the next slide. Like we said, presidents are like kings in that they're both in charge and they both have some kind of power. There's big differences. Presidents do have a lot of power and are seen as the leader of the United States. You always see the president on the news talking about either things that are going on in our country or in other countries. The president talks about things he's going to do, how he's going to do that, which shows that he does have power and that he is in charge. But there's a lot of things that are set up to make sure that the president can't become too powerful and can't be like a king. I'll read some of them to you now. Kings usually get to stay king until they die. So if the king wants to keep being king, they can just keep being king over and over and over again. But presidents have to be elected every 4 years. So a king can keep being the king even if no one wants him to be. But the president has to want people, or have people want him or her to be in charge. So every 4 years the president has to win an election, and that election shows that the American people want that president to be the president. Kings can be king for as long as they want. They don't have to stop. But presidents can only be in charge for 8 years. So even if the president gets to the end of his 8th year, so the president's been president for 8 years, and everybody loves the president, and everybody wants the president to keep being the president, that president would still not be allowed to keep being the president. That's set up so the president doesn't get too much power and start to be seen like a king. So after that 8 years, even if people still want you to be the president, even if you'd win an election, you can't be president anymore. Kings can do whatever they want, even if it goes against the law that they made. So a king could make a law that says you're not allowed to wear blue hats on Sunday. The king could wear a blue hat on Sunday all he wanted to, but if you did it, you'd get in trouble. So in a society that uses the rule of man, a society with a king, the king does not have to follow any of the rules or laws, even the ones that he makes. It's different in the United States. If the president breaks the law, he will get in trouble, just like anybody else. So just because the president has power, he's in charge, that doesn't mean that he can still break the law. He will get in trouble just like anyone else would. So that's why we have the rule of law. Even the leaders and people with power can get in trouble, and they know that, so it stops them from doing things that would hurt us in some way, in theory anyway. We'll talk about how that's not always the case sometimes. There have been people that are in power, even presidents, that have broken the law and things have happened to them. But we will talk about that several times this year. Let me give you an example. I use bubblegum as an example, believe it or not. Let's say that I make a rule in live class. I'm kind of in charge, I like to think, of live class. You guys are a little bit too. You definitely have some power in live class, but I'm the teacher. So let's say that I make a law saying that no one can chew gum while they're talking on the microphone. So as long as you have that microphone, I don't know if that just worked or not, hopefully you can hear me. As long as you have that microphone, you're not allowed to chew gum. That's the rule. If our class used the rule of law, meaning that laws are in charge, not people, that means that I wouldn't be able to chew gum either, even though I'm the teacher. So I've made this rule, or this law, saying that no one can chew gum while they're on the microphone. If we use the rule of law, I can't chew gum either, because everyone has to follow the rule. Let's say the class used the rule of man. That means I would be able to chew gum, but all of you would not. So I could sit here and chew gum right in your face if I wanted to, while I'm on the mic, but you guys couldn't. That would mean that really I'm in charge rather than the rules and the laws. So again, the rule of law, laws are in charge. In the rule of man, a person or an individual is in charge. So why do we use the rule of law? Why do we use this in the United States? There's a bunch of reasons. I'll read them to you. It makes it so individuals cannot become too powerful, like we've talked about. Even the people that we elect and pick to be in charge in the government have to follow the laws. So this way, when they have all of that power, they're still following laws to make sure that they're doing the right thing and protecting them. It makes it so everyone, even people like government, soldiers, and police officers, has to follow the law or they will get in trouble. So again, even the people that have power have to follow the law or they will get in trouble. This way they can't use their power against us in some way. So really it's about protection for us. It makes it so we have order in our society and not a lot of chaos. So saying that the laws are in charge makes it so people have to follow the laws. If they don't, we'll get in trouble. Imagine if we just didn't have any laws. We just got rid of them. Imagine what would happen. There would be a lot of chaos because people wouldn't know how to act, and they probably wouldn't be afraid of getting in trouble, so they'd do whatever they wanted to do. So you might be saying to yourself, Mr. Simmons, you're talking like the rule of law is this thing that is just perfect and everybody follows it, and that's why our country is so great. Now, I'm not saying that everybody always follows this thing, even people that have power. That's why I have at the bottom here. Does everyone always follow it? Not always, unfortunately. When laws aren't followed, the people who break them need to get in trouble, or else the rule of law really doesn't work. So what that means is in order for the laws to have substance, to have value, anytime somebody breaks one or does something wrong, they have to get in trouble in some way. If they don't get in trouble, someone's probably not doing a very good job of protecting us and the rule of law. So for example, if there's a law saying you can't steal, and somebody steals and they don't get in trouble for it, what are they going to do? They're probably going to keep stealing. If they don't get in trouble, they're going to keep doing it. Other people might see that they're stealing and think, oh, he's doing it, maybe I can do it too. So in order for this whole thing to work, you got to have the law, you got to have people follow it, and if they don't, they need to get in trouble for it. That's the end of the video. A little bit longer than these things would usually be. A lot of information. But be sure to answer the questions that are below my face right now. There's 5 of them before you exit out of this. Contact me if you need anything. My number's right there on the screen, so is my email. And after you're done this assignment, just the 5 questions, the next assignment is called George Washington and the Rule of Law. You're going to learn about and read about some things that George Washington, the first president of the United States, did to make sure that the United States practiced and used the rule of law. So good luck, everyone, and let me know if you need anything. Thanks.